There we go.
There you go.
Okay, welcome to the ZBA hearings. I have to give some notifications first. This hearing is being recorded in accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law and broadcast over the Lunenburg Public Access. I'd like to introduce the members. To my left is Lisa Normandin, the board secretary, James Bezikowski, Hans Winthrop, Dave Blatt, and Sheila Loomy. Lisa, the way it will work is Lisa will read the application and any other submitted communications. The applicant will have the opportunity to comment on the application or submit additional documents. You must come forward to the mic and give your name and address, and the board members at that time will have the opportunity to ask questions they might have on the application while you're at the mic. There will be a public comment period, although it doesn't look like there's any public here, but we'll have that period. And then the board will go into deliberation. And we need to have required findings for any special permit. And those findings are, 1, that it will not be injurious or dangerous to the public health or unduly hazardous because of traffic flow, congestion, danger of fire, explosion, or other reasons. That it will not have a material adverse effect on the value of land and buildings in the neighborhood or the amenities of the neighborhood. That it will be operated with reasonable regard for order and sightliness if in open use. That it will not produce noise, vibration, smoke, dust, odor, heat, or glare observable at lot lines in amounts clearly detrimental to the normal use of adjacent property. And with that, I would ask Lisa to please read the application.
Okay, this is an application for a special permit for dimensional variation, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 9, Zoning Board of Appeals. The name and address of the applicants are Eric and Stacy Manso, 11 Brookview Road, 11 Beachview Road, Lunenburg, Mass. The undersigned hereby makes application as follows. Seeking approval to install a small-scale ground-mount solar system, 8.0 kilowatt, 3 feet from our existing side yard and abutting rear yards. The proposed action has not begun. The basis for this application is found in the following section of the Lunenburg zoning bylaw, Section 4.15.3.3, small-scale ground-mount solar, 8.0 kilowatts. The street address is 11 Beachview Road in Lunenburg, assesses map 24, parcel 41. The name and address of each holder of legal title to the land which is the subject of this case is Eric and Stacy J. Manso, 11 Beachview Road, Lunenburg, and the deed is recorded in Worcester Northern District Registry of Deeds, Book 7172, page 138, and recorded May 7th, 2010. They have no knowledge of a prior appeal, application, or petition concerning the land or building involved in this case. The special permit only questions are as follows. Will the proposed action be injurious or dangerous to the public health or unduly hazardous because of traffic congestion, danger of fire or explosion, or other reasons? And the reply is, the proposed installation will not cause any danger or hazards to the public. B, will this action have a material adverse effect on the value of land and buildings in the neighborhood or on the amenities of the neighborhood? The reply is, the proposed system will not adversely affect the property values in the area. C, will the proposed action be operated with reasonable regard for order and sightliness if in open use? C, the proposed installation will not be unsightly or cause any interference with the neighbor's use of their own property. D, will the proposed action produce noise, vibration, dust, odor, heat, or glare observable at the lot lines in amounts clearly detrimental to the normal use of adjacent property? And the reply is, the proposed system will not produce noise, vibration, or any other hindrance to the abutting properties. And that is signed May 4th, 2017 by Eric and Stacy J. Manso of 11 Beachview Road. They have added a copy of the section of the bylaw that outlines the small-scale ground mount. There is a site plan that is been provided by the abutters and a list of abutters. And then there are some photographs that show what the proposed ground mount system is going to look like. I did hear from the Lunenburg Conservation Commission, and they said the only issue they had is they'd probably just have to go for a request for determination before they put up the solar array. And that's all, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I just want to point out to the board that this is a small-scale ground-mounted system, so that it is allowed, but what they're here for is because there is required under that section a 25-foot side yard setback. And with that, I will open it up to the board.
My only question is, I don't remember seeing anything about what the dimensions were for the side setback was that you were requesting.
So 3 feet is what we were requesting.
It's on
You gotta come up to the mic.
Yeah, you have to come up. State your name and address, please.
Stacy Manso, 11
Oh,
Beachview
okay,
Road.
I'm sorry.
It was just the number 3 feet from the property line.
Thank you.
So I had, Mr. Chairman, if I could, I had a question. I was at the site, I visited the site today, actually.
Okay.
Can you address the reason why you're putting it so close to the property line when it looks like you have a good fair amount of property, from, I think, what was it? Wildwood Road? There appears to be a kind of another road access based on the plot plan here that we have from the assessor's office, that this property straddles two roads, Beachview and Wildwood. And so I'm just questioning why that property, why is it so close to the 3 foot? Why you're asking for a dimensional variation?
Sure. Nathan Vignola, CEO, NV Energy from Leominster.
Yep.
The main reason why this area is selected is close enough to the utility access of the property and also the shading.
So you're saying that if you moved it in the center of that kind of property, that you'd be shaded by the trees?
Yes.
Which trees? So you say the trees on their property, or the trees on the property that this proposed site is behind?
It's the trees on their property.
So the highest point of this array is going to be facing the neighbor?
No, this array will be pointing towards their house. It will not be facing the neighbor.
Okay, because okay, so I guess my biggest question here is, one of the things that was required here in section 9 is draw to appropriate scale a sketch or diagram of the land and buildings which are subject to this case. So you really don't have a sketch or diagram to scale in here. And so it's a little hard to determine exactly where this is on the property.
Okay.
Based on what you've given us. Do you have a sketch that shows dimensions on it of any sort?
Probably not.
I have a full-size plot plan of our property with scale in the car. if you
So does it show where this solar array is going to be on there?
Would you please just come up, and when you say that, you have to speak so that people can hear what you're saying.
I have a full-size plot plan that's recorded that we did scale out on that, but I didn't think it was required, but it's in the car, I can get that if you'd like to see it.
Okay. Would you like her to get?
Well, like I say, I can't tell by this how this is going to affect it.
Did you say it's right here in the
Yeah, I
car?
just have it right in the car.
Yeah, if you would, please.
If I could, there should be a page that was handed to the utility, the color photo.
Yes.
And the scale can be derived from that, but you will get the official.
So based on this, so I'll just address, based on this picture that you've given us.
Yes.
It looks to me the way the dimensions are is that the array is facing either towards the woods or towards the neighbor's property. Because it looks, or is there more than one array?
It's two separate arrays, one behind the other. So the yellow block is the outline of the footprint.
For both. So if you divided it in half, lengthwise, it would be almost equal size arrays?
Yes.
And what is the highest point foot-wise of those arrays?
13 feet.
13 feet. And as far as trees, bushes to protect, or anything protecting the neighbors from being able to see that array, is there plans for evergreens or anything to be placed there?
If the neighbors ask for it, they certainly will.
It's not the neighbors. I'm just asking, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
No, please.
No, but I'm just asking because it's not, it's basically if that neighbor went to sell 3 years later, and then asking, I'm just looking at it as, one of the things that we're looking at is it doesn't do anything to the neighborhood, to the values or anything like that of adjacent.
Mhm.
So the question is there any evergreens, is there anything right now that's going to prevent those panels being seen from the neighbor's property?
No.
Okay, all right. Is that something you would consider?
Let me
Oh, sorry.
let me just do a follow-up on that. If you read the bylaw, in fact, even the copy you gave us, it does say that, one of them is that a ground-mounted system shall be adequately screened from the neighboring lot line. So just to mention that, so you know that actually, if you read 2 lines down from the one that you submitted in your packet, you're going to see that line in there, that it shall be. But go ahead.
Okay, you want us to see it?
Yeah, just pass. This.
And I think it's right up in here.
No, this is the red, right here.
Oh,
It's right where that shed is.
Well,
There's your shed,
This
existing
is,
shed.
this is where it is. I will tell you, just so you, in fact.
Yeah.
It's wide
I'll comment
open.
public notice.
Right.
I went there.
Yeah.
And I walked. Okay, the reason I can't put it across here, that house screens it.
Right.
So you go over here,
That's all
and there are
bad.
trees here,
yeah.
in this section here.
Yeah.
So this is the area that they're putting it in, right here.
Why can't it be
And it
this
is
way?
open, but that's a question you can ask, but the location seems to be reasonable, but yeah, I'm not sure why we can't go.
Right.
Where's south?
Right. North,
Okay.
so the south is like this way.
All right, so this could move over here.
So where you have that shed right now, is that where the arrays are going to be? The existing shed that's out there?
It's gonna be between that and
Go to the mic.
Okay.
You have to step up to the mic. Well, they probably heard it, but when you do speak, please come up.
So I guess that's the next question is, actually, I'm going to preface this as I'm a huge proponent of allowing solar. I just want to make sure it's done the right way. Is there a reason why that array has to be so close to the property line? Is there a reason why it can't move to a little bit northwest of the proposed location?
It's better for the operation of the array to be as close to the service entrance as possible.
So where is the service located?
The service entrance is on the northwest corner of the residence.
Okay, so I'll go the same question. If we moved it closer to the residence, the same distance, but further away from the property line, is there a reason why that cannot be done?
I think it's here.
Electrically, no.
think this is-
But the trees on the side
So it's right there.
Okay.
will begin to shade the array adversely.
The trees on the existing trees on that
Yes.
property?
Yes. And the preference is to leave the trees as is.
Okay. All right. So I guess my next question is the idea of 13-foot evergreens being planted to protect the neighbors from this array. So they, is that an option for you folks?
So, we met with our neighbors that are directly next to us the other night. They don't have any objections to the system, and we've been talking with them about putting in a wood fence or something. They don't seem opposed to the system, unless you know something that I don't know, but we would definitely do whatever we need to.
Okay, so it's just one of the ideas is that, one of the requests is that you don't adversely affect the value in the area.
Correct.
And this is not just the neighbor, but it's the next person or the next person. You know, you happen to have a neighbor that, you know, we've had this before us in the past, and that has been one of the, you know, the things that we have to consider, is it's not just your present neighbor, it's what might happen if they go to sell, and the next neighbor and the next neighbor. And that's why, you know, it's just a question of whether you would be willing to put up something that prevented the neighbor from being able to see the, you know, have this array in their backyard.
Oh, absolutely. That wouldn't be an issue.
Okay.
And the reason that with the trees, we can't cut any of the trees along the wood line because that's within the wetlands boundary. So we can't take down any more trees along the backside of our property. We have a restriction against removing any more trees on our property.
The Hickory Hills ordinance.
Well, actually, it's conservation.
Conservation. Okay, I believe Conservation requested it. You said they want,
Request for determination.
yeah, determination, okay. Just 1 second. Sheila? Do you have any?
Question.
I'm sorry, I didn't take a look. What's the size of that area before, what's the size between the neighbor's property line? What's that dimension?
3 feet?
I believe it's 50 feet,
It's 50 feet.
roughly, because if we moved that system, the 25 feet that would be required, we would be down against the tree line, which would make no sun
Yeah.
on the system at all, which is what drove all of this in the first place. And that is also getting close enough that we would need conservation permission, because now we're building closer to the wetlands. I mean, this is all not just because that's where we would like it, it's just that's where it's gonna work on the system and on the lot, and still get what we're looking for.
I will mention that I went to the property and visited it.
Yes.
And went out and looked. I would agree that it's probably the right location for it. You can't put it behind the house because the house naturally, and of course, the whole point of solar is to collect solar.
Right.
There are some trees before that existing trees that I don't believe they're yours. I think they're on the neighbor's property. There is wetlands behind. I don't know the distance. You're saying it's 30 feet. Is that right? If I heard you right?
From where the tree line is,
From the tree line, yeah.
from our existing tree line.
Okay. So, you know, I understand the concerns, and I understand the side yard concerns, so,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to let you know that I did go visit the site.
Right.
I did look at it. As far as the actual location, I think that's probably the best location for the use and where the electrical and all of that has to come in. So I know you're still considering the side yard. Please continue with your...
That's, Mr. Chairman, that's one of my biggest concern is that, you know, I guess I would have liked to have had a determination from Conservation as to, you know, where the tree line was and how far, you know, this truly is, you know, how far from the wetlands
Right.
on it. The biggest thing is just not having a detailed set of plans to really understand fully. If I look here, based on the numbers I'm seeing on here, it looks like it could be moved further from the property line, and, you know, things could be taken care of a little bit better, but that's my main concern, is just what we're setting a precedent, and
Okay. Right.
with that being right on top of the neighbors.
Right. I will say this, it's quite a distance to the, and I know the property line is right there, but to
Right.
the actual neighbor's house, I don't know how far, but it seems like maybe 100 feet.
It's 100 feet anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's still 100 feet. So if we look at it, the standard, if I looked at the other half of the bylaws, it was like a 125 feet setback and a 175 if it was, a larger array.
Correct.
I mean, it is kind of in the neighbor's yard, and that's the only thing that's my main
Understand.
concern.
So our property line is 175 feet from the road.
Right.
So that system is already beyond 175 feet from a road.
I understand that part. However, if you're in the, like I said, there was a reason why the planning board had passed a solar bylaw like this. And part of that was to try to make it so that it wasn't, for those who feel that they're unsightly, it wouldn't be unsightly. Because that's what the reason for the 125-foot setback. That's kind of the reason for even the small system being at least 25 feet so that proper barriers could be put up and you don't see it as easily. Right now, you guys pretty much have, the plan is that I hate to say it this way, but it looks like you didn't want to see it, so therefore, the best place was there.
That is definitely not it, but if that's the way you want to look at it, then so be it. The other issue that I have with that is they both got sheds that are 1 inch off of our property line if you look at it the other way. So I don't see where that is any different than what we're asking to do. I mean, we're asking to basically do the same thing as what's already been done on that property. We're actually even asking for more of a buffer than what they've already got, only in the opposite direction. I don't see where it was that much of an
While
issue.
you're at the podium, I'll just ask the question because of their concerns. Is there a way you can bring it back up further from that side yard than 3 feet? I mean, a standard setback is 5 feet anywhere in town. Is there any way you can bring that back that would still be reasonable for a solar system there?
I guess, but very little. I mean, we're trying to get all of the sun that we can. The trees that are on that tree line are 130 feet tall. There's a lot of shade that happens there. So in order to actually do this.
So solar systems face the south?
Correct.
Is that correct? Yeah. And facing the tree line is the south?
Yes, as long as the top of those trees are less than 22 and a half degrees from zero looking up at the tree from the base of the array. At that point, there will be minimal shade impact on the array.
Okay. Thank you.
So can I ask, while you're up here, can I just ask you another question? So I'm looking at this plot plan that you guys had drawn up for us. That yellow rectangle, it encompasses the 2 arrays.
Yes.
It's 13 feet high, but what's the width and the depth of those arrays?
Each standing array
Yeah,
will be 22 feet wide.
okay.
Then front to back is 10 feet. So each footprint is 220 square feet.
Okay.
And the distance between them, so what's the total distance? You have 22 feet by,
So it's going to be 22 feet wide this way, 10 feet, then you're going to have approximately 25 to 30 feet between the arrays, then another 10 feet on top of that.
so they're roughly 22 by 30, 40,
Correct.
45. yeah.
Approximately, yes.
And then one last question. This looks like a storage shed or some kind of shed on Butter's property. Is that on your direct abutter, or is that on the abutter next door? So this little shed right here?
Their shed.
That,
Yes, that is the neighbors,
one neighbor over, so
2 neighbors.
two neighbors over, okay, all right, okay.
If you wanted to go above 8 kilowatt hour to like a 10 or 9.5, you'd have to increase the size or number of panels? Is that correct?
Yes, the system size would increase. Approximately, AC size would be 4 panels, would be an extra kilowatt of power. So So if you want to go from 8 kilowatts up to 9 kilowatts, we'd add 4 more panels.
So the reason for the 20 to 25 feet between the arrays is because, you're saying, is because of that 13-foot height? And that's the 22 degrees? I mean, because it seems awfully long, seems like an awful long distance compared to other arrays we've seen and had in this area.
It's approximately twice the height is the distance front to back between the arrays for optimum coverage. I mean, the array can be tilted back more if that is requested.
Well, right now, right, you want to tilt it back at what, was it 38 or 40 degrees?
It's approximately 42 degrees.
42 degrees, okay. And,
I mean, it can be tilted back to 30 degrees with minimal impact, if that's what's
no, by tilting it back to 30, what is the, what would the height be then?
approximately 10 feet.
And by moving these arrays further away from the property line and tilting them due south, would that, you know, would that impact your solar capabilities? Because it looks like right now you're not, you know, you're not pointing these due south, you're pointing them kind of in a
Approximately 190 degrees.
southwest there, proximity, south by
Approximately
southwest.
100, yeah, 190 degrees. Yes, it could be more south, but it's favored to follow the property line. If the angle is changed more than 30 degrees in either direction, that is when you'll start to see a significant drop in production.
Okay, I'm just trying to help figure out a way that these things could be moved, you know, further, at least to the standard setbacks on the property lines. I mean, I know that still, would they have to still go in front of the planning board, Mr. Chair, do you know, to get this done?
I don't believe so.
All special permits go to the planning board. They can ask for a waiver, but that's up to the applicant to do that.
I just have a tough time because you mean south, to the south is going this way. You know, if I turn these and bring them over, there's a 23. And then if I, you know, or even the 10 feet. I've kind of exhausted questions and.
What's that?
I'm sorry, I've kind of exhausted my questions for now, but.
Anybody else?
I don't have any other questions for the applicant, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion, please?
Wait a minute, you
Could
didn't
we
ask for public discussion.
give
Oh,
the
I'm sorry.
public?
Could I, if anybody from the public would like to speak, please come forward to the microphone and speak.
Hello, my name is Angela Ryan and I live at 25 Williams Drive. You guys are awesome neighbors and you've done so much for the neighborhood. You've done so many great things for Fanwood and I really praise all that you guys have done. It's been really great. But I guess, you know, I drive a Prius, my husband drives a Prius. We would love to get solar on our house. We have over an acre of land, and we've thought about doing ground, you know, solar. But our neighborhood is a community. We live close together. The houses are close together. And I feel like there's a place for it to go, and then there's a place where, you know, maybe it shouldn't go. And I feel as though, you know, if there were a way to put it on your house instead of in your yard and in everybody else's backyard, because there are like 4 houses that line that street, and I think it's awesome that you guys are close with your neighbors and you got permission and stuff, but I am worried about property value and what it does just to the street and the appearance. I run in my neighborhood every day, and I run past, you know, your property, and I guess I'm just concerned as to, like you were saying before, this is new territory, and you're setting an example of what we want to see in the future. And I feel like there are good properties to do this with, and some people have a ton of land, and it doesn't like really abut much of anything, but this is like right in a neighborhood, and the property is behind everybody else's property. So I guess I'm just concerned as to what this is going to do in other cases, and if you wave this along for XYZ reason, you know, what's the follow-up then? I mean, what is the standard? So I guess I just wanted to voice my concern in that regard. But, I mean, I'm all for clean energy, I really am, and I just think there's a smart way to do it, and then I just don't want to see people negatively impact, because I'm not going to receive a benefit from you guys having solar, and I know it's great, and the environment receives a benefit. I understand that aspect of it, but I guess I'm just concerned about the value and the integrity of our neighborhood. So
Okay.
that's why I'm here.
Thank you very much. Okay, now I'll bring it back to the board. Do I have a
I
motion?
have a question.
Yes.
Is the reason it's not on the house just because of the size?
Yes, and the angles of the roof would make it undesirable.
Because I might be wrong. I read an article on how they have solar panels that can actually move, you know, as they're put on the roof, but they can move to follow the sun.
Right.
Is that available?
I myself, I would advise against installing mechanisms that are moving on a roof, mainly because of their upkeep that is required and the hazard of working on a roof. In general, a stationary array is more cost-effective than a moving array.
Thank you.
So I guess, sir, while you're up there, I'm looking again, based on, I did take a drive by the property, based on your neighbors and what the vegetation they have back there, what are your plans to prevent the shading of, which was one of the things that we were hoping to have, one of the things that was required when you came here was the shading on the array. So, where you have the array situated, I would say that you have an issue with trees developing over time, more there than you would if the property owner controlled their own trees. So there's trees close to the property, to the left side of the house that I see, that are well past the 50 feet, that would allow you to put the array further from the property line and closer to the house, that would be more beneficial to see taken down than what you're going to do in 5 years when your neighbor has vegetation that grows up and covers and shades the array for half the morning from you. So I'm not sure if I agree with you that this is the best place for the array after visiting the property. And that's my biggest thing also is that it really looks like you're putting the array in a spot that's beneficial to the homeowner appearance-wise as opposed to the performance of the array. It's not facing due south. It's not in a spot where you can be able to dictate the shading based on what the neighbors are doing. Even if you did do the 13-foot, trees to protect it, those would shade it during the early morning hours. There's other places on this property that it looks like will be better. I know you don't want to take trees down. However, it looks basically, looking at your plot plans, looking at the land, I would think there would be better, you can come to us with a better proposal than what you've outlined to us today. I want this to pass.
Yes.
Okay? However, what you've outlined today is difficult as I look at a precedent you're asking us to set for the rest of this town, is more the thing.
Sure.
So we do have a very odd-shaped lot, and we
Yes.
understand that. We cannot remove any of the additional trees because of the wetlands situation that we're in. We have the grass area of my yard is the 30-foot no-touch zone for the wetlands. So the trees that are there are what we could not remove when we cleared the lot for building. So I guess unless conservation, are you saying that if we go to conservation and request to remove more trees, to move, I believe that's the only way we can cut down any trees on our property.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the lot
Just
line, and I'm
questioning.
looking where the line is designated, I'm sorry, guys. I'm looking at where the line is designated for wetlands, and it looks to me like you have a lot more room behind your house that trees could be removed based on what I'm seeing for what's been designated as wetlands on your plot plan. And I can only go by the plot plan.
Correct.
Because, obviously, I would have loved to have better dimensions, and I would like to make this thing pass, but that's what I'm seeing. I'm looking right where it says, I'm sorry. I'm going right where it says wetlands.
Correct.
Right, so I'm looking here, and I'm going right here, this whole section, right here is where I'm seeing a whole bunch of trees.
These are all trees.
And I see
Because that's where we're-
trees up to here, I see trees all over here as well.
No.
Well, that's according to this picture here that I have trees sitting right all here.
This is what you're seeing, and I'm not trying to be argumentative.
Sorry, Sheila.
The trees that you're seeing right there. So this being the house on the lot this way.
Right.
So these trees here, we were not allowed to remove because they are right here. This is this piece of trees that come up. We tried to remove everything that we could as far as we could because solar was my plan as soon as we bought the
Okay.
lot.
Uh-huh.
So we tried to we removed as much as we were allowed, literally as much as we were allowed. Conservation came down, we had to delineate the whole property before we cleared. And we cleared as much as they would allow us to.
But you have trees right here, which
I'm telling you,
goes
those are
right
these
here.
trees right here. They are not right there.
Right, I see them right here.
This is a completely different scale. These trees is this line. So we can't cut right to the wetlands. The wetlands has a buffer zone that you cannot remove.
Right, I
So
understand
that
that.
buffer zone comes to right out here, which is what you're seeing. The reason that it's shaded is because a lot of what you're seeing here, that's not a tree in our driveway, that's a shadow of a tree in
I
our
understand that,
driveway.
yes.
These are very tall trees, all right here, where we are not allowed to remove them. I'm not doing this just because I want to be close to the neighbors and out of my sight. I'm doing this because it's the only place if I can put solar in, that I can put it effectively.
So, can you move it to there?
No.
And shade.
Not effectively.
Right, because here's your south facing, right here, right? So here's your saying your trees, here's your south facing, and right there is the optimum sun. Right here, I have the neighbors growing trees, I have the neighbors growing stuff, I have your house here, so I'm looking at more shading from your direction here, because you're saying these trees here. So I got an extra buffer if I go this way, and I don't understand why they can't be facing south, due south, over here.
That's not his lot.
Because this is your belief. And I'm telling you right now that this is shaded. So at just after noontime, it's shaded to here.
Right.
By 2 o'clock, it's shaded to here. These are no longer effective panels, which means shortly after noontime, the panels are in shade. Now that's not a solar. Why would I put in solar then? The only reason we're doing this, there are 2 panels that the neighbors can only see from the side. So they're only looking at a plane. They're not looking at the front view of this. None of this is really all that visible. This one here is behind this structure, and the other one is in front of it. In the only places on our lot that get enough sun to make solar work. If this is that delineation minus the 30 feet that we couldn't cut, you can look at this on paper and say, yeah, that looks great, but it's in shade as soon as, 2 o'clock comes. I didn't do the test. We've had, 6 or 7 different solar companies come out, and that is really the only place that
But
works.
what are you gonna do when the vegetation that's sitting here starts to grow even more, and now they're blocking it from your whole morning, which is the optimum sun in your solar. I mean, the afternoon is one thing, but that's going to lose that in the winter. As those trees grow, they're going to become even, it's going to become even worse for you. But
I
then,
don't
you know-
believe that those are going to grow much further. Have you actually gone on our property?
I didn't walk the property, but
None of those trees are at all short. I don't think that there's an awful lot more height coming out of any of those trees. We're literally talking 130-foot trees back there. That you want to get us permission to cut trees down in wetlands instead, then that's fine. I'll put the system wherever you would like. That's really what we're at. We're putting them there because this is shaded shortly after noontime. I mean, I guess it's 6 of one. You're saying that the sun is better only first thing in the morning and not in the afternoon. Well, it's 6 of one or it's 6 of the other at that point, that one of them is going to work and one of them isn't. And this vegetation are shrubs. I mean, the chances of those
I'm
becoming
looking,
shade.
yeah, I already got some back here, so you had some things that were already 6 feet and above coming here, and, you know, like I say, there's something that you're not, you know, least requirement would be to have something that would prevent the neighbors from being able to see the panels at all.
Which is fine, and we already said that we would do that.
I understand that, I'm just looking at how that affects your, you know, the sun on this thing. So I would like, I mean, the determination from, somewhat from conservation or something, because the problem we have is that I'm sorry, but the issue is, one of the things we asked for was 2 things. One was a scaled dimension drawing, and the other one was saying that part of the bylaws was showing that you had to have a shading, a diagram explaining shading and things of that sort. Because you're coming to us saying that it's shading that's causing you this grief. And I would ask, as the contractor would have provided a shading, idea of shading for us so we could have seen this.
Okay,
I mean, because...
I did not see even a request for that. And this is actually, as much as it doesn't have dimensions on it, this is pretty much to scale, the size. We asked and thought we were supplying what we were asked.
Yeah, so here, the following document shall be required. Sun and shadow diagram specific to the proposed installation to determine the solar axis.
I didn't get that.
Okay. So I'm just, like I say, I like to approve, you know, it's something that I'm pro, okay? It's just a matter of, I'm trying to, you know, I'm worrying about everything else on top of. So Mr. Chair, I'm going to sit back and let you guys.
Which is fine, you bring up some valid points. Would we consider continuing it until he can get the shading diagrams, and he could actually, we could get a determination from conservation on those trees?
I would be very excited
Would
with that.
that be agreeable to the applicants?
Matt Morrow is...
They have to do it.
Matt is completely aware of that entire lot, probably
Okay.
without even looking at a piece of paper.
Okay.
Because of the amount of times that this has gone around.
You understand that you would have to do this and
That's
bring
fine.
that back to the board?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. So if somebody would like to make a motion?
I'd make a motion that we allow the applicant to continue the hearing till such time that that more detailed plans are provided.
Okay.
We need a date
We
certain.
need a date certain, so do you know the time frame that it would take you to do this? Do you have any idea?
Our next meeting is June 14th.
June 14th? There's only one? 7:30. So we will continue this till June 14th at 7:30. And if you could provide that information, that would be helpful.
What is it that we are being asked to shade?
So-
And what do we want from conservation?
Basically, if you takes a look at section 4.15.3.4, it gives you a list of required documents that are needed, and so from conservation, just something that you can put on the plot plan showing where that 30-foot buffer would be, and, you know, basically where the 30-foot buffer is.
And did we approach the conservation for any determination of the wetlands, or does he have to do that?
They do it.
Okay. And you would also have to
And the
approach the conservation and get that determination of the actual,
Okay, that's what I was asking.
and you would also, just to also say, you would have to have the screening plan as well. So you would have the shading, the screening, and hopefully a determination for conservation about the trees in the wetlands, what you can do there, to address his
So the-
concern about
the
moving.
determination being not just where the 30-foot is, but a determination of what?
Well, Mr. Chairman, to answer your question, I think if the conservation comes back and says the determination is that, you can't touch any more trees in the buffer zone, and that really is the most ideal location for it, I'll be honest, I don't have an issue with it. I would strongly recommend that, the screening comes back with a buffer between the neighbor and yourself and where that array is gonna be, just based on the walkthrough that I did. But that, again, that's my personal opinion. I mean, it looks like from the topography of the property, it sounds like that might be the best location for it. But in order to give you the, the variance on that special dimensional variation, just having the meets and bounds and be able to say, this is the best location, here's the, the determination from the Conservation Commission saying that we can't, this really is the only best place we could do it, I don't have an issue with it. I think the other, to Dave's point, is, I'm a big person on the value of someone else's property. It might be work for you, but the next person who comes by may not want to look at that. And so if you can work with us on that,
Yeah, I'm fine with
I'm
that.
all for it. So,
Okay.
the only thing is, Mr. Chairman, will they have enough time with the Conservation Commission in 2 weeks to get a determination? Push it out a little bit, give them some breathing
Next week,
room.
correct?
They meet next week. I don't
I
know what it takes to get on their
Well,
agenda.
I mean, I guess the worst case scenario is that they always come back and
They would
extend it
continue
out, just,
again,
yeah,
extend
exactly.
it because
Yeah.
they couldn't get all the information. So at least it gives them a shot at it.
Yeah.
Okay, then, we have a motion to allow them to continue?
It's been seconded, yeah.
It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, continue to the 24th.
Thank you.
14th,
14th, I'm sorry.
7:30.
Necessary. Okay, document. No, that's
Don't
for you.
notify you again,
No, thanks.
so you know.
Look forward to seeing you guys again.
Don't let that envelope fall out of your pocket. Excuse me, do you have a card? I didn't catch your full name, and it'd just be helpful for the record. Thank you.
Now, it appears that the next petition is not here. 7:30.
He said he's on his way, so I can read it and we can start? He said 10 minutes.
Do you want to wait to 10?
Want to recess?
He knows what it says. I mean, you could technically make a decision without the applicant, so
Yeah.
I think we just
All right.
go.
Don't have to read anything because we all know it. There is another petition that is here. The applicant is not here but on the way. There is nobody in the public audience, so I will ask Lisa to read the petition, and we will continue.
No pressure. This is an application for a special permit, Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 9, Zoning Board of Appeals. The name and address of each applicant is Kenneth J. Ricker and Joshua T. Hillman. I'm sorry. Kenneth J. Ricker, I was just going to give his address, I'm sorry, can't find the page. The undersigned 86 Hudson Street, Leominster, Mass., and Joshua Hillman, 89 Leominster Road, Lunenburg, Mass. The undersigned hereby appeals as follows. Outdoor dining area at 84 Lakefront Ave, also known as Embers Pizza. The proposed action has not begun. The basis for this special permit is found in the following section of the Lunenburg zoning bylaw. Section 4631J. The street address of the property is 84 Lakefront Avenue in Lunenburg. Assesses map 98, parcel 35. The name and address of each holder of legal title to the land which is the subject of this case is Kenneth Ricker, 86 Hudson Street, Leominster, and Joshua Hillman, 809 Leominster Road, Lunenburg. The deed is recorded with Worcester Northern District Registry of Deeds, Book 8089, page 83, and recorded 3/6/2004. They have no knowledge of a prior appeal, but there was a prior appeal back in August of 2014 to add a outside dining area enclosed by fencing in the front of the property that exists right now. With that, there is a sketch of the current building and the outdoor patio that exists in the front, and then the current building with the new proposed patio expansion, which will be 16 by 25 to the right side of the property. The new proposed patio is 400 square feet. The special permit questions have been answered as follows. The question, will the proposed action be injurious or dangerous to the public health or unduly hazardous because of traffic congestion, danger of fire or explosion, or other reasons? The reply, no, it will not be injurious or dangerous in any way. There will be a flat concrete patio with no steps. It will all be ground level. The entrance will be ADA compliant. B, will this action have a material adverse effect on the value of land and buildings in the neighborhood or on the amenities of the neighborhood? B, the fencing and furniture will only add value and beauty to the land. The concrete patio will only enhance the area that is existing currently. C, will the proposed action be operated with reasonable regard for order and sightliness if an open use? The reply, C, the outdoor patio is currently equipped with the most recent and top quality surveillance system. It will be cleaned daily and nightly like it is now. It can be viewed by bar and wait staff due to the oversized windows. D, will the proposed action produce noise, vibration, dust, odor, heat, or glare observable at the lot lines in amounts clearly detrimental to the normal use of the property? The reply is D, there will be no noise coming from the patio except people's conversations that are dining. There will be a wall and a fence around the patio, and the patio bill will be sunken from the back condos so that most of the noise will bounce off the wall and be redirected to the front of the building. We have not had one noise complaint in our 3 years of operation. The next sheet is the plan that was done in 1980 of the property, and then there's a blow-up of it showing 84 Lakefront Avenue and the current outdoor patio. It's signed by both Kenneth Ricker and Joshua Hillman on May 2nd, 2017. And there is a butters site plan that was given to us by the Lunenburg Assessor's Office. There is an image of the outside of the property and a list of abutters. And the Conservation Commission agent indicated to me that they would also require a request for determination from their commission. And that's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
And now the petitioner has not arrived yet, so I think we'll just take a brief moment to see if he is going to arrive shortly, since I think most of you will. What's that? He should be here. He said he would be here in 10 minutes, and that was
Before I begin.
for you. So,
Well, you can talk about it, I suppose.
yeah, if you'd like, we can talk about it.
Well, one of my questions, looking at the lot and the plan, or the lot plan by Betty Asalta, shows 20-foot frontage on the side of the building that abuts Lakefront Ave, which, even averaging that, going back beyond the building, seems that this addition would go beyond what his property lines are. There are no specific property lines delineated, nor were there before. So we don't know what we're actually looking at as to what other properties, town property, or anything that this might be encroaching on.
I think we brought that up last time, no meets and bounds to be able to make a determination. I think that was one of the reasons
Well-
why we didn't want him to extend out into the
Yeah,
lakefront.
it's a little different this time. Actually, what we're really looking at is the petitioner is seeking an amendment to the existing special permit, which we had given him for, which Lisa had referenced, which was for the outdoor seating patio, which at that time, he was trying to extend out towards the lake into the parking lot. There was actually, he had proposed taking like 3 parking spaces and going out. It was very unclear where the road taking or anything else was at that time, and the traffic concerns, all of that. So, we had said at that time that that was not gonna fly. So we limited it to the section that had already been, the cement portion that had already been there and was really in line with the rest of the building. And then, of course, we made them do some things to protect some of the patrons from any parking cars or anything, and also the metal fence and all of that. So, as I read this now, and I agree with what Jim says, there's no dimensions on that side. But now, if you were looking at the building, what he's proposing is to stay in the same straight line as the existing, but going out to the, if you were looking at the business from the road, to the right. Out, I think it's 25
16 feet, 16 feet.
16 feet. And there is actually a tar driveway there. I went down and looked at it and measured everything. There is a tar driveway there that is 16 feet. That looks like it belongs to that property. But again, without the petitioner here to answer these questions, I don't know that. But that goes back, and then it goes, that tar driveway goes, there's kind of a jog in the building, which is right about where he's saying 25 feet. And that, so I'm thinking he's going to that jog. Also, I measured there is, it's an incline, and it's probably, the back of it, if I measured correctly, is about 2.5 feet higher than the front.
Wow. Okay.
So I think that's what he's talking about, he would have to excavate that out. But again, we'll wait for the petitioner to answer these questions.
Okay.
And here he is.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm so sorry, I was stuck at the restaurant, I couldn't get away.
Okay. We will tell you that while we waited, we actually opened the hearing and read the petition. And we have some questions, they had some questions on the petition. So at this point, I will open it to the board since you are here to answer any of their questions and concerns.
Thank you.
My question was, I don't see anything that shows that there has been anything done to get formal meets and boundaries to exactly see where you own to, what's town property, what's other property, how close you are to someone else's lot lines on the side. Knowing you want to just extend the front on Lakeview or Lakefront Ave is not a question. But it's the side yard where the paved drive area is. How far over do you actually own?
I own 5 feet over, but I'm not going over the paved driveway that's there now anyway. I'm not going beyond that paved driveway.
So the distance you're saying is 30 feet? 25, yeah. But you said you're 5 feet over the paved area?
No, I have 5 feet, yeah, I own 5 feet over the paved area.
Right,
To
right.
the property line.
Right,
I'm
to
not
the
even going
property
past the
line.
paved
So
area
you're-
for the,
Okay.
Do you actually have a copy of the deed?
no, I have the plot plan that's there that shows where it is, but the driveway that's there, the patio's not going outside of that driveway anyway. It's not even going to the edge of it.
But still, most of what we require does ask for a plot plan that
Yeah.
shows,
I don't know. This whole
Footage.
process has been a mess for me because I came to get a patio, I applied early, and when I called, they told me what I had to do is go in front of the selectmen. So I did. And then when I went in front of the selectmen and they approved it, they said, "You're all set, just stop by the building inspector and let him know what you're doing." I said, "Okay." So I stopped by the building inspector. Meanwhile, the License Commission already sent it out to Boston. Boston already came in and looked at it and approved it. And the building inspector said, "You gotta go in front of these two committees." I said, "Well, why?" I said, "Everything's approved." And he said, it's the way it is. So I don't know, I'm going backwards, I didn't know that. If I knew that, I would've did everything earlier and came in front of you guys and did all that, but every time I seem to do something in this business, in my businesses, and there's never anyone that tells you what needs to be done. It's always, go here and do it, you'll be all set, and I do it, and then now I gotta go in front of these committees, which,
Then there's another.
it is what it is. It's just a runaround. I'm trying to get this done for the busiest time is the summer. It's my land. I'm not encompassing anything. I can put a patio right up to the property line if I want to. That's the law. I can go right up to, with concrete. I can put a fence on a property line. It's not a structure. I'm not putting anything. So,
Right.
I know we went through this with the whole board that I went through in front of already, and they understood that, because the lady said, "You can't be within 15 feet of property," and the guy said, "No, that's not true at all, that's a structure." He said, "No."
Well, the one back then was different. That was clean into the parking area. That was, in my opinion, completely different than what
Yeah.
you're asking for at this time.
I'm not going, and I'm not taking away any part.
No, right,
Yeah,
I know
I'm not
that, I
taking any
realize
road.
that. No, I'm
All
just
doing is
pointing out the
extending
fact that it was a completely different petition. What you're asking for now really is an extension of the
Patio.
original.
Asking for the extension of a patio that's totally within my boundary lines. Probably by, I don't even have it in front of me. I left it at the restaurant because I ran so quick, but, what is it coming off the building? How many feet?
It says 16, but we don't have any dimensions to show where that is on the
The
property.
driveway is 18, so I'm gonna be 2 feet short of the driveway, and then I own another 5 to 6 feet outside of that.
So, but that's contrary to what it's kind of showing on the plans, that's the problem.
What is?
So
it
you have
showing?
a dimension here on the plans of showing 20 feet over here, and then it's angling towards the building, so that, in the back, we don't know what that becomes. So that's all we're saying is that
Yeah.
it's just difficult because we're looking for just a determination to understand whether it really is, because many things have been done in this town where folks went over a line and they didn't realize it.
Yeah, I've been dealing with Whalum because I own the property next door and I own the apartment behind that, and I've been dealing with Whalum since they went in there, the condo company, and they wouldn't allow me to encroach on their property, but what do you want me to do? What's my next step so I can get it done?
Do you
You want me to hire a firm to come in and? You want me to hire a firm to come in and lay it all out again like I did when I first built the place? To show you guys where I am? I'm...
Sir, it's really more of just asking for the dimensions to be to cite this on the plot plan as it asks in the petition. It's to show us where the structure is on the plot plan to scale. And that's really what it is, more than anything else.
Do you have that available? You said you had something you came from the rest. You must have something.
No, I really don't. I have this. I have what I brought out to you guys. This is all I have. I didn't have my copy of it, is what I meant.
Okay, do you know where that 20 feet that he's asking about?
Yeah, alls I know is, I know when I had it staked out originally, when I bought the property and had to go through everything, the stakes are, I'd say 6 feet, maybe 5.5, 6 feet off the driveway. I'm not moving the driveway. I'm not taking out the whole driveway, you know what I mean? I'm not going past where the driveway is now, so I know for sure I own 5, 6 feet beyond that. But to be able to, just tell me what you want me to do and I'll do it.
Who put the driveway in? Did you put that in, or that's been there forever?
Since that house was back there. that they sold to the Emerald Place.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That tree is mine. So when you go by and you see that humongous tree that's, Whalen won't take down, they won't take that down because it's mine. And that is, I know what you're saying about the angle. If the driveway is here, the edge of the driveway, the tree is here. So if that angle goes up, it's got to go way to my right to be able to grab that tree. You know what I'm saying? Driveway goes up here, that tree is way up here on the right, and that's mine. And it's way beyond the driveway, in the back, very back corner of my lot. So, but tell me what you want to do, and I'll just do it right away so you guys can look at it.
Do you have to excavate out your driveway to be able to put in this potential patio that you're asking for?
Yeah, about, probably about 13 feet from the restaurant wall back, because the other is already there, it's already existing, because we're going straight across. So out of that 25 feet, there's probably a good 10, 11 feet that's already existing.
So you're lowering it the back?
We're gonna dig out the portion we want. We're gonna build a fieldstone wall in the back and along the side, and then we're gonna put a fence on top of that wall.
So if I may, I figure that's about 2.5 feet.
The grade?
back Higher than the, yeah.
Yeah, the grades, yeah, it's
Grade. So you would actually be 2.5 feet plus a fence
Oh, yeah.
in the back part.
I think it's a little more than 2.5 feet when it's
Yeah,
at the
I was
furthest
just
point.
kind of measuring.
Yeah.
I was actually using one of your boards on the restaurant.
Yep. Yeah, I'd say that's probably fair, 2.5, maybe a little more. So there'll be a wall, and then on top of it, it'll just be that same decorative fence that's in the front. It'll go down, around, and they'll meet, and we're gonna leave it open like we have it open, like we talked about. The front will just be wide open to come in. It'll be probably about 5 feet wide, the opening.
Okay.
So people can just walk in and either sit down here or sit down straight across.
Okay, you're not going to have a door. I'm just going to continue with other questions that we can go through,
Definitely.
and then we're going to come back
Yeah.
to this. You're not going to have a door on that side. You'll use the current door in the front? to
Yeah,
go
no,
to
I'm
the
not
same-
putting any more, because I have 2 doors on the patio now. I have the
Right.
side door, and then I have the two 3-foot doors, a 6-foot door.
Okay.
So no, I won't put another door on the side, because the windows are so big. And when the ABC came in and said they're not concerned with it because the windows are so large, they're 2 5-foot windows, so 10 feet of windows overlooking the patio. So if there was any issues, you could, anyone in the restaurant could see right outside.
Okay. And the lighting, what type of lighting are you going to put out there? I'm only worried about, today they have a lot of lighting that goes down, there's no lighting that goes
Yeah, I
up.
honestly, I don't even know if I'm gonna need it, because the condos give so much light off, and I've been having such a kind of a bug problem because of the lake with the current lights I have, because I put in LEDs outside, and these little they're like gnats, I guess, they're all over, so I was thinking of not even putting lighting, because the condos, are how close that is, I mean,
Yeah.
the condos are right there, so the lighting, I think from the condos will suffice, and then we're gonna have some hi-hat heaters, those gas heaters, that'll give light also, so.
Yeah, okay.
But, no light, no sound on that side of the building, because,
Yeah. Okay, so there would never be music, nothing?
no, I have music in the front, and, I have 2 speakers in the front, and that's great, but to put it on the side, I don't really see a need, because like I said, the condos are
Yeah.
right there, so.
Yeah, right, well, that's right.
But we don't get complaints.
The
'cause we
biggest
have them on the
complaint you
walls.
usually get is noise, but I also noticed that you've never had a noise
Never
complaint.
had a noise complaint, which is odd, because even on the rocks, that huge patio, those decks are 20 feet away, they're looking over my patio, and that place gets a little louder, and they've never bothered either. But I check with them, too. I'll check with the neighbors and ask, because they come in the restaurant. They usually say, some reason, it goes out on the water. All the noise kind of travels out to the water.
Travels
So
out.
I'll hear more from the people across the lake than I do behind me.
I believe that.
I do, I honestly do.
Okay, and what would the hours be?
Just my hours. I'm, whatever the hours are, I close right now Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at like 10, and Friday, Saturday at 10:30, 11. I
Okay.
try to shut down the bar just to let them go next door to, this is strictly a restaurant, really.
Try and push them to On the Rocks.
Yeah, I'm not looking to do any more bars, nightlife.
What sort of security gate or that would you have in the front?
I wasn't gonna have one, because they didn't require one on that one when I opened it. So I wasn't, but if you require a gate, I'll put a gate. I just know, like, on the Rocks, Embers has it, On the Rocks has a gate. It's more of a bar. It's just constantly breaking. I'm constantly changing when I own the luxury box, they didn't require a gate either. It's more of a restaurant, so I'm not looking at that bar, but whatever you guys want, I don't really care. It's just a lot easier for open space, because we do get older people and that come in and out.
Yeah. Yeah. So you would just, but you had mentioned you would put a fence similar to the fence that you currently have.
It's gonna be the same one, yeah.
Same one.
I have to put a fence.
Would you put the, part of what I would think you would also add the cement pylons in the front where the parking is so that nobody can hit that section of the patio?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the ones that are there currently?
Yeah, just continue them down to 16 feet.
Yeah, I'll throw a couple more, 3 more, whatever it takes down, yeah.
Okay, all right. Any other questions, members from the board for right now? And then we can go back to any other question?
No, all set.
Done? Okay.
Well, I guess the only question was more of just curiosity. Any reason why you're stopping where it is and not going to the back of the building?
I'm not looking for, well,
That building, it's right at the jog in the building, correct? It kind of jogs.
yeah, I
in.
could go back a long way, but I'm not really looking,
Just the way where it's showed on the plans that you gave us, it kind of stops like 4 feet before the end of the building?
it's not. It's actually, it stops well before that.
Okay.
I know that plan, but I'm only going into the building. There's a 5-foot window. There's 2 5-foot windows, and I'm going in between the windows. I'm stopping in between.
Uh-huh.
So, like, building-wise, like, that's what I said. I think I'm only going maybe 10 feet back from where it's flat. So, where it's flat, the current patio is, and it goes all the way out. I'm only going 10 feet in. I don't want it big. One, my occupancy is only 99, and I only seat 60 inside. I currently seat 10 outside, so I'm at 70. I'm looking to put another 20 seats outside. I'm not looking to, it's such a premier spot in the summer months.
Yeah.
Because of the lake, but
Sure.
it's not used a lot.
Understand.
It's cool, it's buggy, you gotta catch it on the right night to use it, but, just this little thing is gonna cost me probably 10 grand to build, so I don't wanna go crazy ripping out tons of earth.
Right. Like I said, it was just more curiosity.
No, I understand, but that's really why. One, the occupancy, and 2, the cost. It's for such a seasonal little spot, I don't wanna go too heavy on it.
Okay.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to your concern on the property line. The only thing I could suggest, if we have that concern, is that we actually condition it that he simply turn in a plot plan that shows where that line is. Can we do that? We can do that, right?
Do you have to do it for the planning board anyway?
Yeah, exactly. You have to do it for the planning board anyway.
Am I going in front of them too?
Yeah.
Any special permit goes
Yeah.
before the planning board.
Is that another 2 weeks in paper and all that stuff too?
No, they meet, well, I don't know.
Yeah, they would meet either the same week we do, only on Monday.
Yep, they meet Monday night. You can request a waiver, but that's up to you.
No, it's just, I'm just trying to build this thing before that's why I did it so early.
Well, I'm sorry, what's the difference between the special permit and the waiver?
What's that?
They'd have to get a special permit from us. They would be required to go to the planning board, but they can request a waiver from the planning board, but that's up to the planning
Oh,
board.
okay, waiver from the planning
To
board, right.
agree to it, or say, no, we need a site plan review, or what have you.
Okay.
I just want to see a plan with meets and bounds, so that,
Right, which I'm saying, he's got to
Right.
have that for the planning board anyway, so we could condition it that you just give a copy to Lisa, and that would be a condition before it would take effect.
Could do that.
So that'd be, on
Again,
this- on this-
I'm saying that, but that's only if we get a motion.
Right. So you're saying on this page, sir? On this page, just be able to cite where you're going?
No, I'm looking for a registered plan from a engineer saying that there's his lot line, this is where his building is, this is where he's going
Okay.
out. I mean, I think that's, for me, I think we request that of any applicant, and it's only prudent for us to do it here. Especially when he's looking, we don't know where his lot line is. I'm not comfortable with it. I wasn't comfortable with it 2.5 years ago, I'm not comfortable with it now. If he comes with us with a plot plan that shows the meets and bounds and where he is, I have no issue with it.
Okay.
Okay.
And whether he, whether he takes that between now and when he has the planning board meets, he can bring it to the planning board. So, I mean, if it has to get their approval anyways, as long as he has a registered plan, they're gonna ask for that as well, so.
Yeah, so we could, again, we got two options. We can continue it until the plan, or we can do whatever we wanted.
I don't know.
I don't have no motion before me. so
Yeah, I don't know what the board feels, but I know that the planning board meets on the Mondays before we meet, so to continue it, and then it'd be another month before he got before the planning board. I have no issue with him bringing a certified plan as long as Lisa looks at it and says, okay, it's certified, and goes, and, it's before the planning board, because they meet on Mondays and we meet on Wednesdays.
Right.
I have no issue with that.
Right.
So,
Yeah, well, we would have to plan to view. I would look
Yeah.
at the plan before we
Right.
finally
Well,
signed off.
There is an existing plan, but it doesn't show that he owns that property.
right.
So if the engineer goes back to the same engineer, they take the line away.
Sure, I mean, with all the building that they've
Huh?
done, they've got all the pins, they'd be able to.
The pins are there.
It
Pins
would,
are sitting there.
yeah,
The pins have been sitting there.
yeah, it wouldn't,
They're sitting out front right now. Whalem's property's not, yeah, I'm telling you, it's, if not 6 feet from my property, from the driveway, which I'm not even going near, but whatever you need, just tell me when this meeting is so I know, because if
No,
it's late
we
June.
believe you, it's just that,
No, I understand, it's just the process, that's all. When can this planning board meet? When's their next meeting?
I'm
And
not
what do you-
sure. I think they meet 2 weeks from this past Monday.
But does it have to go in the paper 2 weeks and do all the stuff?
I'm not sure exactly. I think they do have to advertise.
So I won't get in until the end of June.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what their schedule's like.
But no matter what we determine, you're still gonna have to do that.
That's what I'm saying, so yeah, it's
Right.
probably just not worth it this year, maybe we'll try it next year.
But if you have it, it's good for 2 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, so maybe I'll just start it next year and then go from there. Because I don't want to go into July and to be building it, you know what I mean? Because I'm missing, believe it or not, when you get into the July and August months, they're almost too hot to be outside, you know what I mean? So that's why I went so early to try to get it done in the first place. So give me, send me the letter when they do meet, so we can just see if it's worth it. If it's not, do I withdraw, or do I just not show?
you have the option, you can withdraw, ask to withdraw without prejudice, and then you can come back to us anytime.
Yeah.
But, however, he has no reason to go to the planning board if he doesn't get an approval from us first.
What's that?
There's really no reason for him to go to the planning board until he gets approval from us first.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
He's asking, I'm giving him his options. The other option would be we continue it. We'd have to continue it to a date certain, but we could do that.
or we could just approve it with the conditions that he has a registered plot plan, and then he can do whatever he wants, like whether
You
he
can
wants to go
condition-
forward.
Yes, you can
and then
condition,
he'll have
you
to
can
go
do
with
what you want,
he'll have to
condition
hook up
that
with the
as
planning
well.
board.
And if we approve, he has 2 years to exercise his options,
Mhm.
so you don't have to come back again.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, now it's up to you. What would you like to do? What would you like for us to do?
Well, if you're saying if you approve it tonight, as far as put a condition on it, I won't have to go through the whole process again when I come back next year? I can just go right to the planning board and say, this is it, it's good for 2 years?
That's correct.
Yeah, let's do that if we can.
Yeah.
That'll just save me a bunch of time.
Okay. All right.
Or if you can get your certified plan done quickly,
I can get that
Still
tomorrow.
request, find out what the time frame is with the planning board right net tomorrow or the next day, and see how that fits in with what you would like to do to move forward.
That's fine.
But that gives you the 2-year option, and
Okay, I'll ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the plans contingent on receiving a certified plot plan outlining where the patio, where the structure is in relationship to the lot lines.
and that it doesn't go beyond 5 feet or something.
No, he said he can go right up to the lot line if he wanted to. So that's not the issue. The issue is just to
Yeah,
make
it's
sure
not a structure.
Right.
Right, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, is a motion a second? I'll call for a vote. Jim?
Aye.
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 So Lisa, will you, let me know?
What I do is I'm going to prepare the decision and send it to you, and then you can call the planning board office tomorrow and find out what you need to do to get on their agenda.
Who is that?
Marjorie, downstairs,
Oh, okay.
downstairs in our office. So we're open tomorrow, 8 to 6, and closed on Friday,
Okay.
Extension 5, I think it is.
and reopen on Tuesday.
All right. But if I get this certified thing done tomorrow, can I bring it to you? Just leave it with you?
You sure can?
I don't have to come back here to submit it.
No, they approved it, so you're good for 2 years.
Good. The only
Contingent
thing,
on getting that plot plan.
right. The only thing is until, like, when she gets the certified plot plan, she'll have the decision made, and we'll just verify it, and then I'll sign the decision.
Okay.
And then it's 14 days.
So just to be clear,
But I do have to,
this is a certified plot plan, registered by an engineer, Whitman and Bingham. You need that, showing where that patio's going in relationship to your property lines. The one that's submitted, it says Robert Lufkin Estate, so that it doesn't indicate that that's your property.
Yep.
So that's where the issue is. I just want you to be
Yeah.
crystal.
So you want this exact thing, and you want where the
Well-
properties, where the,
Where the patio's going in relationship to your property line.
And the footage.
Am I right? I just want
Yeah,
him to be,
Yeah, you can call Whitman and Bingham and just talk to them and say, listen, this is, show them the plot plan, they'll look it up, and then they'll just revise it based on the fact that you're the owner now. They'll come out and verify the meets and bounds and where you're what you're trying to do, and then that's the certified plan that we'll get.
Right. So you actually have this plan in there, and it'd probably be helpful for the planning board if you had it, showed it on a little bit more detail.
Okay.
That, they're gonna go into a lot more scrutiny than we are on this thing, if you're ready for that.
yeah, I got one more question.
Not ready for it.
You we reach out to the other boards, and Conservation also said you would have to go to them. Conservation Commission, you have to go in front of them as well.
if you come in the office, he's right upstairs. You can just talk to him, have a conversation with him.
is that another 2 weeks in the paper?
Their hours are the same, correct?
Their hours are the same as ours.
So when you're there to see Lisa,
Yeah.
you can
Is
just,
that another 2 weeks in the paper, Lisa?
They meet the opposite night that we do.
so they would be next Wednesday, right?
Yes, but I don't know what their agenda looks like. I mean,
Okay.
And
I do have also something I have to read, so just a post-decision instructions for special permit. The special permit is granted with the contingency that the petitioner comply with all licenses, regulations, statutes, and ordinance of any and all applicable local, state, and federal boards or agencies with jurisdiction over the premises. The special permit is subject to periodic review by the permit granting authority or the enforcement officer to ensure compliance with any conditions. Non-compliance to such conditions may result in revocation of this permit. A copy of the board's decision shall be filed with the town clerk within 14 days. Any party aggrieved by the board's decision may appeal to Superior Court within 20 days after the decision is filed with the town clerk. After certification by the town clerk that 20 days have elapsed since the decision was filed, you should have it recorded in the Registry of Deeds. No special permit shall take effect until it has been recorded. The special permit shall lapse within 2 years unless substantial use or construction has commenced. That's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I did all the motions, I'll let somebody else motion now.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.